I thought I'd make a video just to show you a few things they could do to turn any boring special effects that you may have made for a game or something into eye candy. Before I start, I just want to say that it is always easier to work in grayscale at the beginning of the effect making process. Adding color later is easier. Also, while you could modify and enhance your effects in a paint program like Photoshop, if you have the option of doing these enhancements via programming or coding, then consider the benefits. For example, coloring, distorting and animating via code means you can reuse the same sprites and get lots of variations. This means less memory usage, and that's a good thing. You'll find that good games will make use of multiple elements to a sprite effect. Things like dust, sparks, and even abstract shapes add to the gooey visual goodness. If things are too linear, they are boring. By adding noise, distortion, or a pattern, you take your effect to a new level. Being quirky with your design will sometimes make things more memorable. Sometimes by adding a mask to an existing sprite, you can turn it into a new element. And since mask images have less colors, it means less memory usage as a sprite too. Having trouble making an effect? Then why not turn an existing piece of video footage into a sprite? In Adobe After Effects, you can use some filters like Posterize, Glow, and Mosaic to convert the video footage into your sprites. And even if you're not completely happy with the results, then at least you'll have a good basis to work on in Photoshop or any other sprite editing program. Just remember to work at the correct sprite resolution and skip unnecessary frames, otherwise your sprite animation will be too long. Where you get your footage from as the basis for your sprites, and if your final product ends up being a commercial one, will make a big difference legally. You don't want to get sued, so be careful with the usage of your final product. You might create an effect that has a gradient coloring to it. It looks okay in the animation, but if you play with the levels, you can give it a bit more oomph sometimes. Just experiment. Coloring an effect is a good start to improving it, but using a color gradient can sometimes be better. In Photoshop, you can transform a boring black and white sprite using Gradient Map. Or, in After Effects, you can use Colorama. If you don't want to change the color of the effect with a color gradient, then another option is to just color the sprite differently through the life of the effect instead. Less tiresome, but still pretty. Still too lazy to create a gradient, but you want more than one color for an individual sprite? Then just layer two of the same sprites together. Color one sprite one color and another sprite a different color, and mask the top sprite layers to give yourself a lazy bones color gradient. Special effects don't always have to be bright and shiny. A subtractive effect can be just as visually appealing as light additive ones. Just unleash the darkness from within. With solid effects, light effects and dark effects, you can combine them together in different ways for variety. And that's it. Use these tips and you are sure to take your effects from level dull to major eye poppage. Good luck, and I hope you've enjoyed this guide.